as the message lit up our old family group thread like a warning flare. Family check-in Wednesday 6:00 p.m. Emily needs guidance. They're plotting another intervention, aren't they? I thought, my stomach churning with dread. My situation, that's what they called my decision to leave my 10-year professor role and build a green energy startup in 2020. For 4 years, I'd endured their veiled concern, awkward silences, and relentless reminders about 401k and stability. I parked outside my childhood home in Savannah, Georgia. The colonial brick facade hadn't changed. Neither had their view of success, titles, tenure, and tailored suits. Dad's Mercedes was parked neatly beside my sister Sophie's sleek BMW. I pulled up in my dusty 2012 Honda Civic. It stood out. So did I. My phone buzzed. Marcus, my CTO, Forbes drop at 7:00 p.m. EST. You ready? I typed. Perfect. Family lecture starts at 6. You replied instantly. Want me to fake a server crash so you can escape? Tempting, but I'm ready to face their judgment, I thought, steeling myself. Tempting, but no. This will be worth it. I checked the mirror. Plain black blazer, white tee, pulled back curls, no jewelry. Let them assume I was barely scraping by. Mom opened the door before I knocked. Chanel suit. Frown. Barely concealed. Emily 3 minutes late. Precision is overrated. I smiled. Not in business, she sniffed, guiding me into the parlor. It was staged like a corporate ambush. Dad flanked the fireplace, Sophie and her husband James occupied the leather settee. Aunt Clara, Mom's sister, sat poised with a notepad, and of course Emma, Sophie's best friend and smug business consultant. Sophie greeted me with a glossy grin. Good blazer. Zara thrifted. You mock my choices, Sophie, but you'll choke on those words soon, I thought, my eyes narrowing. I blinked. Sustainable, I added. Dad cleared his throat. Let's begin. We're here because we're concerned about you, Emily. I took the most awkward, creaky chair in the room, positioned perfectly to face every skeptical expression. Concerned about your decisions, Mom corrected. 4 years ago, you had everything. 10-year track at Emory University, that beautiful loft in Atlanta, and, she added sharply, the investment banker they'd practically married me off to in their heads before I ended the engagement and launched my own company. You planned my life without me, Mom, and now you're shocked I chose my own path? I thought, my heart heavy with their betrayal. And now, Dad gestured vaguely, a 1-bedroom rental above a coffee shop and a car from 2012. You've thrown away a future for some green energy thing. Startup, James chimed in helpfully, eyes gleaming with condescension. Though, let's be honest, startups only work if they scale. Your sector's oversaturated. You'd need major capital just to compete. You're so smug, James, but I rejected your pitch last week, I thought, biting back a smirk. I almost laughed. James, who failed to launch his own app 3 times. James, who pitched a renewable energy idea last week to one of my shell firms and got rejected again. We just want to help, Sophie said sweetly. It's not shameful to walk away from something that isn't working. Emory University would rehire you, Aunt Clara offered. Barbara's daughter just made full professor at Vanderbilt, youngest in their department. She paused with intent. That could have been you. You compare me to others, Clara, but I've built something you can't imagine, I thought, my resolve hardening. I checked my watch. 6:43 p.m. Forbes would publish in 13 minutes. You still haven't told us what your company does, Mom huffed. So much secrecy, and for what? Where's the proof? Dad rose to full CEO height. We're here to fix this before it's too late. Sophie's phone buzzed. She glanced, froze, then stared harder. Oh my God, she breathed. Why is your face on the Forbes 30 under 30 list? The room fell silent, wine glasses half raised, eyes locked. James snatched the phone. That's not possible, James muttered, scrolling with shaking fingers. This can't be right. Emily Foster, 36, founder and CEO of GreenTech Solutions, valued at $2.5 billion, I supplied calmly, folding my arms. Well, technically 3.5 now. We just finalized another acquisition this morning. Dad sank back into his chair like the air had left the room. 3.5 billion. Would you like to know what we actually do now? I pulled out my tablet and opened our latest investor deck. The glowing title read, GreenTech Solutions, the future of sustainable infrastructure. We build adaptive energy systems for disaster-prone regions, hybrid tech integrating AI solar grids and modular water storage. We've signed contracts with FEMA, the EU Climate Council, and just last week, Singapore. Sophie's mouth fell slightly open. The apartment you all keep criticizing. Smallest unit in the Skyview building I own. The old Honda Civic bought intentionally, reliable, understated. Like most of my best assets. Mom's wine glass wobbled in her hand. But you never said. You never cared to listen, Mom, I said, my voice sharp with years of frustration. You never asked, I said, voice even. You were too busy treating my career like a cautionary tale. I stood, adjusting my thrifted blazer. You wanted to fix me. But I wasn't broken. Emma's phone buzzed violently. I could see headlines lighting up her screen. Forbes, the billionaire you've never heard of until now. James looked like he'd bitten into a lemon. Aunt Clara had already whipped out her phone. Probably dialing Barbara. Dad just whispered again. 3.5 billion. Marcus' message came through. NBC rescheduled to 8. That's my ride, I said. Unlike the Honda Civic, this one's electric and comes with a film crew. Paused at the doorway. You know what they say. Success is louder when you let people think you're losing. Then I left. If Emily's quiet rise and bold reveal moved you, don't forget to subscribe. Her story's just getting started, and you won't want to miss what comes next. Oh, and Sophie. I paused at the door. That renewable energy startup James pitched last week, the one Foster Ventures turned down? She blinked. I smiled. That's my investment firm. You thought you could ride my coattails, James, but I'm the one calling the shots, I said, my tone laced with triumph. I left them there, clutching their wine glasses and worn-out pride, surrounded by luxury brands and their outdated idea of success. Outside, a sleek, driverless Tesla sedan waited to take me to the NBC. Sometimes the best revenge isn't proving people wrong. It's letting them realize they never really knew you at all, and I was just getting started. The NBC interview was the spark. By midnight, my inbox and phone were flooded. Classmates I hadn't heard from in a decade suddenly remembered our bond. Cousins I barely knew messaged me saying they always believed in me. And, most predictably, my family? Mom, Emily, please call us. Sophie, why didn't you tell me I'm your sister? James, about that pitch. Maybe we could grab lunch. Dad, you had all this success and kept it from us. You ignored me until Forbes. And now you want a piece of my empire? I thought, my resolve unshaken. I ignored them. Marcus' message lit up my screen. GreenTech Solutions stock up 15%. Singapore's live boards ready for tomorrow. By morning, I walked through GreenTech Solutions headquarters, glassed, light, and code humming through every surface. The security guard gave a crisp nod. Good morning, Miss Foster. Nora, my executive assistant, met me at the elevator. Your family's been calling since 5. Your mother even tried to charm her way past reception. They're desperate now, Nora, but I'm not their savior, I said, my voice firm. I laughed softly. Protocol followed, of course. Any other surprises? Sophie just posted about her brilliant tech sister. Tagged you. I waved it off. Let her chase the clout. My top floor office was sleek, private. Screens showed silent news headlines. GreenTech Solutions CEO quietly redefines climate tech. $3.5 billion, 0 cents empire built in plain sight. Nora, Ms. Foster, your 8 a.m. is here. I turned, expecting a venture capitalist. It was Ryan, the ex-fiancé my parents never forgave me for walking away from. Emily, he said, attempting that same practiced grin. You look successful. You doubted me, Ryan, and now you're here for scraps, I thought, my eyes cold. I look exactly the same as when you called my startup dreams adorable and said I'd be back in 8 months, I replied, staying comfortably seated. He shifted. I thought, given our history, I interrupted. You should remember, I don't entertain people who once told me tech was for men with MBAs, not women with idealism. He flushed. You also said, and I quote, they'll always hire someone like you in consulting. Diversity hires are in fashion. You insulted my ambition, Ryan, and now you're irrelevant, I said, my voice cutting. I pressed the intercom. Nora, please escort Mr. Lang out and update security protocols. As Ryan was led away, my actual 8:00 a.m. arrived. Laura Hayes, the legendary venture capitalist behind 5 unicorns and counting. Entertaining morning? She asked, glancing toward Ryan's. Just clearing old clutter, I smiled, pulling up our deck. Shall we talk about the future instead? The meeting was sharp, efficient, exactly what I needed before my 11 board meeting, our first since the Forbes drop. I entered the boardroom to straighter backs and more attentive nods. Amazing how a billion-dollar valuation improves your credibility. Before we begin, I said, taking my seat. Yes, the Forbes article was intentional. No, it doesn't change our strategy. Marcus pulled up our latest figures. Steep, clean, powerful. Our stealth phase worked. We're not ahead of the market. We are the market. An older investor cleared his throat. The visibility changes things. Your family. My family is not part of this company's leadership, I said flatly. What matters is this Project Nexus. As I revealed our next-gen AI platform, Nora slid me a note. Your sister's downstairs, refusing to leave. I replied quietly. Send her to conference room B, the one with the plastic chairs. Then I got back to business. I finally made my way down to conference room B. She'd been waiting nearly 3 hours. Her designer blowout was starting to frizz, and her Gucci tote was clutched to her chest like a life vest. Seriously? Emily stabbed the moment I stepped in. You couldn't tell security who I am. I'm your sister. They know exactly who you are, I replied calmly, sitting across from her. That's why they followed protocol, she faltered, then sighed. Mom's crying. Dad didn't even go into the office today. They feel betrayed. Betrayed? I lifted an eyebrow. By what? That I succeeded? That I didn't need their approval or their interference? You're hurt because I didn't beg for your validation, Sophie, I said, my voice sharp with truth. It's not like that. We're family. We should have been part of this. Like, I was part of your life, I asked. All those dinners where you and James bragged about bonuses and IPOs, those charity galas where Mom introduced you as her successful daughter and me as Emily. She's figuring things out. Sophie flinched. That's not fair. We didn't know because you never asked, I said. You didn't want to know. You celebrated my failures, Sophie, but never my dreams, I said, my eyes piercing hers. She looked around. Now that we do, can't we start over? James would love to collaborate. I opened my tablet. James, the same James with 3 failed ventures, SEC warnings, and a rapidly shrinking trust fund. That James? Her face reddened. You. I know everyone who tries to do business with us, including that he's been calling me amateur hour to investors. She paled. He wouldn't. The recordings are thorough. I stood. Now, if you'll excuse me. She grabbed my arm. What do you want? An apology? Fine, I'm sorry. We're all sorry. Just don't shut us out. I looked down at her manicured hand resting on my thrift blazer, the one she mocked last night. I don't want anything from you, Sophie. That's the point. I've built all of this without any of you, and that's exactly how I'll continue your regrets, I said, my voice cold and final. But we're still family, are we? I gave a soft, sad smile. Family believes in you before the Forbes article. Her hand slipped away. Another alert buzzed across my phone. Meeting confirmed. Governor's office. 1:30 p.m. I turned to leave. Mom and Dad? Savannah's about to become a tech capital. It's what I'd been working on. I'm sure they'll all suddenly become very interested in my situation, I said dryly, as I walked away, leaving Sophie behind in the sterile conference room. Nora fell into step beside me, tablet in hand. Your parents are hosting another family meeting tonight, she noted. Your Aunt Clara's already called 3 reporters trying to claim she mentored you. They're rewriting history to claim my success, Nora, I said, a bitter laugh escaping. I gave a quiet laugh. Let them scramble. Let them spin. Success is the best revenge. But silence? Silence is the best response. The elevator doors opened. Laura Hayes stood waiting, flanked by a delegation of international investors. Ready to change the world? She asked, smiling. I straightened the same thrifted blazer Sophie once mocked. Tomorrow it would be splashed across a dozen media outlets as the new symbol of understated power. Always, I replied. The most disruptive ideas come from the people no one saw coming. Behind me, I could hear Sophie's heels echo down the corridor. Louder than applause, louder than validation. But I didn't flinch. I wasn't the overlooked sister anymore. I was the architect of the future. 2 months after the Forbes article, I sat in my office reviewing quarterly numbers. GreenTech Solutions was being hailed as transformational. Privacy had become a luxury. But influence now was routine. I reappeared. Your father's downstairs. I didn't look up. Same answer as yesterday is different today. No Mercedes, no suit, just jeans and a briefcase. That made me pause. Richard Foster, global strategy consultant, wearing jeans. I pulled up the lobby feed. There he was, smaller somehow, quiet. The briefcase sat on his lap, untouched. Send him up, I said softly. GreenTech Solutions disrupt global climate strategy. Foster rewrites the rules of tech power. Success doesn't need permission. Dad entered slowly, almost cautiously. He took it all in. No words yet. And for once, that was enough. The whiteboards behind me were covered in equations and evolving models. Real-time market tickers flickered across mounted screens through the floor T-Smith of windows. Savannah stretched out beneath us, familiar and unrecognizable all at once. Dad glanced around quietly, overwhelmed. Your mother keeps setting a place for you at dinner, he said finally. Every Wednesday night, just in case. I gestured to the chair across from me. He sat slowly, resting a worn leather briefcase on his knees. I've been thinking, he began, about your 6th grade science fair. Of all the things he could have said, that wasn't on my list. You built a weather-predicting neural net. Everyone else had baking soda volcanoes. You had algorithms. He gave a faint smile. You won first place. I missed it. Board meeting. You tried again. I remember. You know what? I don't remember. He continued, asking you how it worked, why you loved it, what you dreamed of building. He opened the briefcase and laid out a stack of papers. My earliest patents, published research, startup documents. You filed your first patent at 20, built your first AI protocol at 23. 3 startups before GreenTech Solutions. We had no idea. Because you never asked, I said gently. You didn't want to know. You overlooked me, Dad, but I never stopped building, I said, my voice soft but heavy with truth. He looked up, eyes softer. We were wrong. I was wrong. The pause between us was decades long. Your mom, she's learning coding, he added. Says she wants to understand. Sophie's reading up on AI ethics. James been pitching my competitors. I cut in, using my name, Dad, just like you ignored my worth. He pulled out one last paper, a photo. Me, 12 years old, standing proudly beside a hand-built display labeled Neural Weather Model. Emily Foster. When do we stop seeing you? He whispered. I stared at that girl, unpolished, unapologetic, unstoppable. You know, I said quietly. That model predicted weather with 78% accuracy. Pretty impressive, he murmured. For a 6th grader. I finished. Want to know GreenTech Solutions' current prediction accuracy? I asked. Dad glanced up, curious now. What is it? 99.998%. I turned my monitor toward him, revealing our latest simulations. We're not just forecasting weather anymore. We're modeling climate shifts, economic swings, population movements. Governments use us to prevent disasters. Corporations use us to adapt before chaos hits. For the first time, I saw it. Not just awe, but comprehension of what I'd built, of why I'd built it. Show me, he said quietly. Help me understand. I hesitated, then stood, walking to the largest whiteboard. It starts with neural mapping, I explained, drawing pathways. Then we layered in quantum processing. For the next hour, I walked him through my life's work. He asked questions, smart ones, thoughtful ones. When I finished, he was silent. I have a confession, he said. Foster Global is struggling. The old model's failing. Everyone wants AI now, I said. Your stock dropped 38% last quarter, he chuckled. Of course you know. You probably knew before I did. I'm not here for help, he added. I'm here because I'm proud of you. Not for the money, but the vision. You're proud now, Dad. But where was that pride when I needed it? I said, my voice trembling with suppressed emotion. We faced the window, watching Savannah stretch below us. What if, I said slowly, the next family dinner happened here? A real tour? No assumptions. I'd like that, he replied, then added, Danes? No plus ones, I said. Sophie's learning. He's already cost them. I know. You bought their debt through Shell Company. She's still my sister, he nodded. Wednesday at 6 o'clock. Tell Mom to wear flats, I smiled. It's a long walk. After he left, Nora entered with coffee. Your mother called 3 times. Clear my evening, I said, pinning one last headline to my wall. Emily Foster redefines the future and the meaning of time. You'll see my vision now, Nora. On my terms, I said, my heart full of quiet triumph. It was time they saw it too. If you've ever been underestimated, you know how lonely but powerful that silence can be. I'd love to hear from you. Drop a comment below, tell me about the moment you stopped waiting for permission. And if my story resonated, please subscribe.